Stop everything you are doing right now and listen closely, because the Canadian government has already passed a law that is about to put hundreds of extra dollars directly into your bank account. And the overwhelming majority of seniors across this country have absolutely no idea that they need to take one simple but critically important step to make sure they actually receive this money. If you are a senior living in Canada right now, if you are surviving on a fixed income, if you have been standing at the grocery checkout watching your bill climb higher and higher every single month while your income stays exactly the same, then this video was made specifically for you, and I need you to stay right here until the very end. Because what I am about to walk you through could mean the difference between receiving hundreds of extra dollars this year and every single year for the next 5 years, or being completely left behind simply because nobody told you what to do. We are talking about the Canada Groceries and Essentials benefit and a very powerful 25% increase that officially kicks in starting July 2026. And this is not a rumor floating around social media. This is not something being debated in Parliament. This is not a proposal sitting on someone's desk waiting for approval. This law has already been passed and signed into effect. Bill C-19, officially called the Canada Groceries and Essentials Benefit Act, received royal assent on February 12, 2026, which means it is completely done, it is legally binding, it is real, and the money is coming, but only if you do the one thing required to make sure that money actually reaches you. And if you miss that step, you could be left out entirely, while millions of other Canadians collect what is rightfully theirs. Now, let me take you through everything you need to know from the very beginning, so there is absolutely no confusion. You may remember something called the GST Credit, the Goods and Services Tax Credit, which has been around for years. If you are a low or modest income Canadian, the government has been sending you small quarterly payments through the Canada Revenue Agency designed to help offset the tax you pay on everyday purchases like groceries, toiletries, cleaning supplies, and other essentials. Well, the federal government has now taken that entire program, given it a brand new name, and dramatically increased the amount of money it pays out to eligible Canadians. The Canada Groceries and Essentials benefit is the official new name for what was previously called the GST HST Credit, and the federal government introduced this rebranding along with significant payment increases through Bill C-19. So, if you are already receiving the GST credit, you are already in the system. You are already on the list. The government already knows who you are, and this new benefit will come to you through the exact same channel you have been receiving payments through all along. But here is what makes this dramatically different and far more important than the old GST credit ever was. On January 26, 2026, Prime Minister Mark Carney announced the new Canada Groceries and Essentials benefit, which will increase the former Goods and Services Tax Credit by a full 25% for 5 consecutive years starting this July, and it will also include a special one-time payment equivalent to a 50% increase arriving this spring. Let me make sure you fully absorb what that means because it is extraordinary. You are getting a one-time lump sum payment equal to a 50% increase arriving before the end of June 2026. And then on top of that, you are getting a permanent 25% boost to every single quarterly payment for 5 full years, running all the way through to 2031. That is not a minor adjustment. That is a significant and meaningful upgrade to financial support that millions of seniors have been quietly depending on for years. This benefit will be paid quarterly at the start of each quarter to permit timely access to the funds to help families and seniors with their day-to-day expenses. Quarterly means 4 times a year with payments arriving in July, October, January, and April. That is money flowing into your account at the start of every single season, right when you need it most. Now, you might be wondering why this is happening now. And the honest answer is something that every single senior in Canada already knows from painful personal experience. Groceries have become shockingly expensive. Food insecurity among older adults has been rising at an alarming rate, increasing from 8% in 2019 to 12.6% in 2023. Think carefully about that number, because in just 4 years, the percentage of older adults in Canada who cannot reliably afford to put food on their table has grown by more than 50%. And that is not a small problem. That is a crisis that has been quietly devastating lives in kitchens and living rooms across this entire country. The National Institute on Aging's 2025 Aging in Canada survey found that nearly one-third of older adults identified the rising cost of living as their single greatest financial concern, not their health, not their housing, but their money and their ability to afford the absolute basics of daily life. The government heard that message, and while no single government program can solve every financial challenge facing seniors, this benefit represents a real and meaningful response to a deeply painful problem. The stated goal is to offset grocery cost increases that have gone beyond overall inflation since the pandemic began, essentially helping to fill the widening gap between what your fixed income provides and what your grocery bill has become. Now let me get into the specific numbers, because this is what really matters. How much money will you actually receive? The answer depends on your income level and your family situation. But let me walk you through the most common scenarios for seniors. If you are a single senior with approximately $25,000 in net income, here is what you can expect. You will receive a one-time top-up payment of approximately $267, arriving this spring before the end of June 2026. Think of that as a bonus payment. Extra money showing up in your account that you did not have before. Then, starting in July 2026, your regular quarterly payments increase by 25%, which adds approximately $136 over the full benefit year on top of what you were already receiving. Put it all together, and a single senior with $25,000 in net income receives approximately $950 total for the 2026 to 2027 benefit year. That is nearly $1,000 of real money. If you are part of a couple, the numbers are even more substantial. A couple with 2 children and $40,000 in net income will receive a one-time top-up of $533, plus an ongoing increase of $272 for the benefit year, bringing their total to approximately $1,890. Even if you are a senior couple without children, your combined benefit is still significantly higher than what a single person receives. Looking at the bigger picture, this program will deliver $3.1 billion in immediate assistance to 12 million Canadians who currently receive the GST credit, and the 25% increase will deliver an additional $8.6 billion in support over the period from 2026 to 2031, including extending eligibility to 500,000 brand new individuals and families who never qualified before. Did you catch that? 500,000 people who were previously shut out will now qualify for the first time because the income threshold has been expanded. So even if you were never receiving the GST credit before, you may now be eligible, and this is exactly why this information matters so much. Now, I want to make sure this is completely clear because there are 2 separate payments happening, and they are easy to confuse. The first payment is the one-time top-up, which is a special bonus payment that the CRA will issue in spring 2026, no later than June 2026. This payment is equal to 50% of what your annual GST credit was worth in the 2025 to 2026 benefit year, and it arrives as a single lump sum. You do not need to apply for this payment separately, because if you were eligible for the GST credit in January 2026, you are automatically on the list. The second payment is the ongoing 25% increase, which is the long-term structural change. The first quarterly payment reflecting this new increase is officially scheduled for July 3, 2026, and this enhanced amount will apply for the full 5-year period through to 2031. Critically, these enhanced amounts will be indexed to inflation throughout this entire period, which means as prices continue to rise, your benefit payments will automatically adjust upward. That is genuine protection for your household budget for years to come. Now here is the most important part of this entire video, and I need you to listen more carefully right now than you have listened to anything in a very long time. Everything I have told you so far, the bonus payment, the $950 total, the quarterly payments, the 5 full years of increases, every single dollar of it depends entirely on one thing. You must file your taxes. I understand that some of you are thinking you have no income to report, so why would you bother? And some of you may not have filed in years because it felt unnecessary. But here is the absolute truth. The Canada Revenue Agency cannot send you a single penny if they do not know where you stand financially. This entire benefit system is built on your tax return because that is how the government determines whether you are eligible, how much you should receive, and where to send the payment. You do not need to fill out a separate application. You simply need to file your tax return, and the CRA handles everything else automatically. Specifically, to receive the one-time spring top-up, you need to have filed your 2024 tax return and to receive the ongoing 25% increase. Starting in July 2026, you need to file your 2025 tax return. The deadline for most Canadians to file their 2025 tax return is April 30th, 2026, and that date may have already passed by the time you are watching this. So if you have not filed yet, I am urging you to do it right now today without waiting another day. If you miss the deadline, your July 2026 quarterly payment could be delayed, and you could miss the very first payment of the new increased benefit simply because of a late filing. Even if the deadline has passed, filing late is always better than not filing at all, so please get it done as soon as possible. If you need help filing your taxes and you have a low or modest income, there is a completely free service called the Community Volunteer Income Tax Program, or CVITP, where trained volunteers will prepare and file your tax return at no cost. You can find a clinic near you by visiting the CRA website or calling 1-800-387-1193. Some of you watching right now may have never received the GST credit in the past. Maybe you did not know you qualified, or maybe your income was slightly too high. Here is the good news. The government has expanded who qualifies, and 500,000 new individuals and families will now be eligible for the first time. So even if you have never received a single dollar from this program before, you should absolutely still file your taxes, because the CRA will assess your eligibility automatically, and you might be very pleasantly surprised. Now, many seniors worry that receiving this new money might somehow reduce their old age security or their guaranteed income supplement, and I want to put that concern to rest right now. The Canada Groceries and Essentials benefit does not affect your other benefits in any way. It is classified as a non-taxable benefit, which means you do not pay income tax on this money. It does not count as income that could push you into a higher bracket, and it does not reduce income-tested benefits like the Guaranteed Income Supplement. It is yours to keep fully and completely. These amounts are additional to existing benefits, such as the Canada Child Benefit, the Canada Disability Benefit, and the Guaranteed Income Supplement. That word additional is key because this money comes on top of what you already receive, not instead of it, not in place of it, entirely on top. Canada is a diverse country, and many seniors come from different backgrounds. Newcomers can qualify for this benefit as long as they meet the eligibility criteria, including being a Canadian resident on December 31st of the previous tax year. So as long as you were a Canadian resident on December 31st, 2025, and you file your 2025 tax return, you may be eligible regardless of where you were born. If you live in a northern or remote community, this benefit was designed with you in mind as well because the cost of groceries in northern Canada is significantly higher than in southern cities. If you cannot get to a tax clinic, please reach out to a family member or neighbor, because many communities have people who help seniors file for free. Once you have filed, check your status through CRA My Account, where payment details are provided through official benefit notices. If you are not comfortable using a computer, call the CRA at 1-800-387-1193 and they can help you over the phone. There are some important things to double-check right now. First, make sure your direct deposit information with the CRA is up to date, because if you recently changed banks or moved, the CRA needs to know. If they cannot reach you, your payment could be delayed or returned. Second, if you are expecting the spring top-up and it has not arrived yet, do not panic because the government guarantee extends through June 2026. Check CRA My Account regularly for updates. Third, if you believe you should have received something and have not, contact the CRA directly, ask questions, and keep a record of your calls. Let me step back and talk about what these numbers mean in everyday life. For a single senior, $950 over the benefit year works out to roughly $79 per month. That might not sound transformative, but for someone on a fixed income, $79 a month is genuinely meaningful. That is a week's worth of fresh vegetables and fruits. That is a tank of gas. That is a prescription copayment. That is a birthday gift for a grandchild. That is 1 month's phone bill. That is peace of mind at the grocery store. This benefit is about helping older adults maintain a life of dignity, not just dollars on a spreadsheet, but the ability to live without constantly calculating whether you can afford the basics. You worked your entire life. You contributed to this country. You raised families and built communities, and you deserve to receive every dollar that is set aside for you. Let me bring everything together into a clear action plan. First, if you have not filed your 2024 tax return, do it immediately because this qualifies you for the one-time top-up arriving before June 2026. Second, if you have not filed your 2025 tax return, file it as soon as possible, even if the April 30th deadline has passed, because filing late is better than not filing at all. Third, check your direct deposit information with the CRA by logging into My Account or calling 1-800-387-1193 and confirm your banking details and address are correct. Fourth, if you were not previously receiving the GST credit and you have a low or modest income, file your taxes anyway because you may now qualify for the first time. Fifth, watch for your one-time top-up before the end of June 2026 and then your increased quarterly payment on or around July 3, 2026. Sixth, remember this benefit does not affect your OAS, your GIS, or any other income-tested benefits because it is non-taxable and additional to everything else you receive. Seventh, if you need free help filing, contact the CVITP through the CRA website or by calling 1-800-387-1193. According to Employment and Social Development Canada, this benefit is designed to reach Canadians who need it most during a period of sustained food price inflation and broader affordability pressures. The new Canada Groceries and Essentials benefit represents the government's most significant initiative to directly support seniors and low-income Canadians. To make absolutely certain you receive every dollar, you are entitled to keep your tax filings up to date because the government uses your return to determine eligibility automatically. You are exactly who this was designed for, so claim every single dollar. If this video helped you today, please share it with someone you care about, a friend, a neighbor, a family member, anyone who might be a senior on a fixed income, because sharing this could put hundreds of dollars in their pocket that they would have otherwise missed. Thank you for watching and for taking the time to educate yourself about what you are entitled to. Take care of yourself and remember that you matter. Your financial security matters, and you deserve to live with dignity. This is Canada Pension Vault.